Hi everyone, good morning. Good morning. Today we're here at Kardec Radio. I'm just sharing this. Let's see here. Just give me 1 second. I like to share the videos on my own personal page too. So this way, all the people can see it as well. So I always just ask for 1 second here. All right, I see myself here and I can share it public, and done. So this way more people can see it and they can enjoy some of the knowledge that I have put together from others, and I pass it on to you. So for the past 9 weeks, and time flies when I say that, past 9 weeks, we've been talking about the 12 steps that the Alcoholics Anonymous group, the AA, use for the recovery from those suffering from alcoholism. So what I've done is I'm adapting these 12 steps into depression as well as anxiety. I was asked by the team from Ricardo Mello on the Namaste Institute to do this in Portuguese, so I'm doing this as well in Portuguese, and henceforth the idea to do it on Kardec Radio as well. So anyway, we've talked a lot about all these steps, all these admissions of problems. We've talked about bringing God into the solution because he is the biggest part of the solution. We've talked about making a list of people we have harmed. We've talked about talking to someone about yourself, about who you truly are. This is a catharsis. We've talked about a lot of different things, and today we talk about something that actually requires the most action of all, and perhaps the most uncomfortable feelings that may arise, which is step 9 of the AA. Step 9 says that you will make direct amends to all the people when possible, okay, except in those cases where trying to make amends will cause more injury to them or to others. So what does that mean? Well, it's time for renovation. It's time for forgiveness. It's time to seek forgiveness. It's time to repair what we have done. And we're going to begin with the whole meaning of an apology. We talked a little bit about this on step 8. What is an apology? What consists an apology? A true, sincere apology. Well, a true, sincere apology, and I have Chris here joining us. Hey, Chris, good morning to you, my dear friend. And we have Marcia Thomas saying hello. Hello, Marcia Thomas. Good morning and welcome. So a part of an apology, the first part is the admission of guilt. The first thing you have to do is say, I did something wrong. I did something against what God's path would be. And it could be to yourself. Sometimes we have to apologize to ourselves. We ask forgiveness to ourselves. So the first step of an apology is asking for forgiveness. The second part is actually apologizing, not with the word but in front of it. So an apology in which you blame something else is not a true apology. It's actually trying to make yourself feel better for whatever wrongdoing. So a true apology will require no buts. Will just be yourself taking responsibility that it belongs to you, not to others. That is up to them to ask. So if you're late to an event because somebody else neglected to call you on a wake-up call, you don't apologize saying, I'm late because I'm sorry, but it was because somebody else forgot. That's not part of an apology. That person who made you late for not waking you up, they have to apologize to you. You don't, build their apology into yours. So your part of the deal is if you're late to an event, just apologize. I'm late. And don't belittle the other person. Don't guilt others into why you're late. Don't seek any kind of, oh, it's okay kind of thing. Just true, short, and sweet apology. First, I am late. That's admission of guilt. I am sorry that I'm late. Second part of an apology. Third part, how can I repair this? How can I make it better? How can I make up for the time that I'm late? Simple as that. So to apologize, to make amends is the third part. So in step 8, we really thought about the first part and the second part, which is admit the guilt that you have, the wrongdoings that you have done to others, and kind of write down their names, write down the situations, make a list. That was step 8. Step 9, and then now let's say I'm sorry. But this step, it takes you a little further because it makes you directly go and apologize. And not just that, but you make amends. You actually have to show what you have, that you're willing and you're ready and you're there to make all the repairs that you have done something opposite in the past. So why does that have to do with depression, and what part of that has to do with anxiety? First of all, we know that depression, not only, we don't know exactly, there are different people saying different components that causes depression. One of them, of course, is the chaos of the chemical imbalance that are in our brains. And of course, that's part of it. Otherwise, medication would not work. So certain medication for certain people does work. So we know that part of the chemical imbalance does take place, and it is remediated by certain types of medication. Not everything works for everyone, but something always works for someone. So we have to experiment. So that's medication. So we know chemical imbalance is part of it. We know that emotions, gobbled up emotions, the neglect to accept things that we can't change is part of depression. We go into a depression because of great frustrations. We also go into a depressed state because of a reaction to something that has happened. That's a reactive depression. So if somebody has passed away that is close to us, if we lost a job, if we are going through an illness or someone we love is going through, that can open up this depressed state in a form of reacting to what is happening to us. So there are many facets of depression. One of them, though, there is the spiritual obsessors. Those are the usually in Spiritism, we always talk about how we're not victims of anything. And everything that we have done in the past will eventually, we'll have to make repair, amends. And that is why reincarnation is the only acceptable justice that we would have, that we have. Otherwise, why be good? Why even be born and enjoy your life in a righteous way? Why bother? If this is the only life you have, and what kind of goodness and fairness is it in a child being born with all kinds of illnesses and another will not? Is that a good way to start? So obviously we have to have started way before this little tiny nothing in front of an infinity of years. We have 80, 90, 100 years. That is really absolutely nothing for you as a immortal spirit to say, this is all of me. Of course not. Today we're the best that we have ever been. So the part of depression and making amends, depression can come from things that we have done in the past. And Joanna Angelus says that a lot of times we are born depressed. We are born already with that let's put gene, okay? But we're not talking about the physical gene, but we are born with this imprint that kind of at certain point in our lives will open up this depressed state because of things that we have done in past lives. And a lot of times those spirits are still not reincarnated. So a lot of times, a lot of things that we have done wrong in the past, those people might still be vindictive. Those people might still be um, heightening the level of depression that we are suffering from. So that is spiritual obsession. When any type of spiritual influence um, gets to us, that's pretty much in simple terms. So what do we have to do? Well, first of all, we can't always blame. We can't continue to belittle the pain and suffering that we have caused them in the past. So the best way to do is to apologize. What do I do if I have a spiritual obsessor close to me? Some people call the devil, some people call whatever it is. But if we have, and they're not, they're just people that most likely you have harmed in a past life, and they have not forgiven you. So what do they need? Most of the time, a sincere apology, your acknowledgement of having done something wrong. But what if I don't know? I don't even know who they are. I don't even know what I did. Well, if whatever suffering we're having is either a missionary type suffering, it's either a suffering to teach us, or it's a suffering as a consequence of the suffering we have done. So apologize. Apologize in the form of prayer. Apologize in your gospel in the home. Ask, how can I make it better? I will make it better. I will. And the best action to making it better is to acting it. So when obsessors will come to you to try to vindicate whatever it is that you have done to them, and they find you doing good, that is the best form of making amends if you can't make direct amends to someone who's in a different realm than you. So for depression, one of the best remedies is to actually do good unto others. It's as simple as that. It's very hard to make amends to a spirit in the past. We see this in mediumnic meetings, in a lot of the, when the spirits come and they show and they tell us how they are tormenting an entire family because of something that they have done to them in the past. And the way we find is to their hearts, to ask them to see, to seek in their hearts to forgive them, and to see, and when they see that they're actually trying in this lifetime to do the right thing, it's much easier than if they see that they're still doing the same things. You see, so change your action. If you are suffering from depression, just gather all the strength you have to try to do something good for somebody else. Try to get out of your own state of depression momentarily to do some good for others, because that might be the best amends you're making with the spiritual realm, with the spiritual beings that are still close to you and many times heightening your depressed state. And in this life, if we are depressed, maybe it's a good time as well to put us out of that and start looking at the people we have harmed in the past and seek them out and make amends. Not call them and say, I'm sorry, but put yourself in a position to say, I want to repair that. I want to bring back our friendship. I know I have done wrong. I know that day, this is what I did. And bring that into the present, because a lot of depression has to do with the past. Things we have done wrong, things that have been done wrong to us. And when we take ourselves out of that state and we bring it into the present and we make amends with our past, with the people in our past, that is liberating. That is freedom. That is one of the remedies. So that is why this AA 12-step is so freeing. It actually frees people from their vices. It frees us from much of the depressed states that we might be in. So again, make amends. When you're depressed, there is not a better time than making amends, seeking in your past those who you have harmed, not who have harmed you, and go and seek their forgiveness. Whether they give it to you or not, that does not take part in the process, because that becomes up to them. But it is freeing for you to ask for forgiveness. And not only that, make repairs. Not just say, I'm so sorry for what I did, but also go a step further. Go to them and say, look, to try to make a little better, this is what I have done. If I have, now, the only thing that we do not do is if that will cause more injury or somebody else will get hurt by your confession, by whatever it is that you're apologizing for. Maybe that person doesn't even know the harm you have done to them. And in that case, perhaps it's better to leave it alone and make amends in a different way. And in a different way in which that person will never know that you have harmed them, because knowing will cause them more pain. In the case of anxiety, in the case of getting to the end of the day and feeling that you are completely exhausted, that you are exhausted when you wake up already. In the case of anxiety, when everything in your mind has gone wrong in the future already, there are, again, many of the spirits that have seen in you something that you have done wrong to them. And they are there to influence your state of anxiety to be even higher. And of course, people can influence us. People influence us all the time. There are many psychologists, coaches, all of these experts that say that only you have the key to your own feelings and nobody can influence you. I respectfully disagree. People influences us all of the time. And that is actually a good thing, because if we can't feel, if their feelings of pain cannot touch us for us to feel their pain, then we can never develop compassion. So on the other hand, when they feel sad, we sometimes get the sadness that they're feeling. But when they get angry, we also get some of the anger. If we're in an angry environment, we can be contaminated, absolutely. So people do have the key to making us feel different in different ways. In this state of planet Earth, yes, absolutely, I believe. So in the spirits, of course, I mean, they have even more strength because they are affecting us in a way that we're not noticing. So what do? We make amends, we apologize. We work in goodness in this world. So for those who are trying to hurt us, at least when they see us working towards our own betterment, they see that there's something changing. But in the case of anxiety, why do we ask for forgiveness for those that we have done wrong? Because a lot of anxiety, again, Joanna de Angelis always brings this up, saying that we are born with a lot of anxiety. Emmanuel says it in a different way. But part of why we're born with some anxiety is because we know there are things in our past lives that were left undone. And there are things in our past lives that we did not apologize to the right people, to the people that we have harmed. There are amends that we have to do. And sometimes we don't even know, but we just feel that we have to keep doing this. We have to repair, but we don't know what. We have to do the right thing, but we don't know what is the right thing. So let's begin with the things in this world. Who are the people that you have harmed? AA will bring a good point. If you have betrayed your spouse and your spouse has no idea of this betrayal that took place 5 years ago, perhaps it's not a good thing to bring this up. It's done. You have no more involvement with the person. You will cause your spouse so much pain by admitting that it'll become about your ego. It is about you feeling better and making somebody destroyed. So that is not making amends. We have to be very clear of that. Now, your anxiety may be the fruits of this betrayal. And now you are anxious. You're always thinking of what you did wrong, or maybe not in a conscious level, but you are always watching out so you won't be discovered for some mistake you made 5 years ago. So make amends in a different way. Make your wife feel the most loved person. If whatever mistake you've made in the past, and now you truly are sorry, you can change the way you behave to compensate for your mistake. And that is making amends without the other person knowing. Be truly the most faithful, the most honorable person you can be now. So you see, then you have to work on forgiving yourselves, to make an amends with yourselves. So that is why it's so important to really make an amends. Don't just say, I'm sorry. Go a step further and repair what you have done. And if you can't repair what you have done with the person you have done to or with, do it with somebody else. A lot of women, they say, they feel very guilty of having had abortions. A lot of men feel very guilty about having had betrayed or left their women. Because when we talk about abortion, it's always about the women, but we forget that the men caused the abortion. The men also had an abortion when he abandoned that child, when he abandoned the mother of their child. That is also indirect abortion. So I'm not here saying that this is okay. What I'm saying is, if you have done, there's no sense in beating yourself over it anymore. Anytime that we understand that this was the wrong thing to do, then we say, I'm so sorry. You apologize to that life that is no longer, which it is, but you apologize. And then you make reparations. Not reparations, you make amends. And you do something good to compensate the mistake that you have done. Perhaps volunteering in an orphanage, perhaps making clothes and donating to a cause for children. And this is amends. This is making amends with life for things that we have done. And now we are aware that they were not the right things to have done. You see, this is freeing because we don't know where exactly the anxiety, the anxious state, the depressed state is coming from. And many times it's coming from things we have done that are not aligned with the laws of God. So if we repair those things, once we are conscious of our mistakes, then naturally our depression and our anxiety will also lessen. When we apologize to the spiritual realm, to all of those, our ancestors, all of those who have taken part in our lives, in past lives, whatever it is, and we just say it in a form of prayer, many of them are actually close to us and they're listening. And when we make amends and when we take actions and working towards charity and when we're working in a good cause, those things, the anxiety and the depression, will also lessen, if not completely disappear. So making amends, my friend, this is the teaching of this step 9. When you forgive, when you ask for forgiveness and you go a step further, you don't just admit your mistake and ask for forgiveness, but you make amends. You do everything in your possibilities to repair the error that you have done. You don't just leave it at words, at the I'm sorry, but you go a step further and you fix it. Have you broken something that belonged to someone? I'm sorry sometimes won't cut it. You have to work, purchase another, whatever you broke, and give it to them. You see, that's amends. Not just say, I'm so sorry I broke your vase. Purchase another vase more beautiful than the person had and give it to them. If you can't replace that was a sentimental value, then you do something with all your feelings and you say, this will not replace what I did or what I broke, but I want you to know that this is coming to you with so much love that I hope it comes close to it. So this is the talk for today, my friends. I hope we can be here next Sunday at 8:30. I'm going now on my personal Facebook to do it in Portuguese, and we'll talk about step 10 of the 12 steps of the AA. I thank you so much for being here. It'll be on, I believe it's going to be on YouTube later, but it always stays here. If you want to see the past 9 steps, it's always here. Just search for my name here on Kardec Radio and you see step 1 through 9, which is today. Have a wonderful and blessed Sunday. And Marcia is saying, this is amazing. Thank you very much. I thank you, Marcia, for being here with us. I thank Julia as well for being here. It's so early on Sunday morning, so we're going to think about maybe in the future changing a little bit the time. Because a lot of people, I hear that they want to be here live, but on a Sunday morning, it's the day that they can sleep. That's okay. I leave it here for now, and maybe later on you can cherish some of the, enjoy some of the teachings that I have learned and I'm passing on to you. Have a wonderful time, my friends. Blessed Sunday.